Hey guys, it's Casey, and I am just so excited for tonight. I feel like I haven't seen you guys or been with you guys in forever. While you guys were at Rally last week, I was in the Dominican on a mission trip with other people from the church, and I just can't wait to tell you about that, but I cannot wait to hear about Rally and everything that happened and just how much fun you guys had. We start a new series this week called My Problem with Jesus, and the more I read into it, it's probably going to be one of my favorites. So you're about to watch a video of Clay kind of introducing it and just pouring into you about what week one entails. So let's just listen up and have a great night.
What's up, everybody? My name is Clay Finklea, and I'm the student pastor at The Rock, and I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in today, whether you're joining us from a house group, a digital group, you're a middle schooler catching up from Thursday night, or you're a parent checking out our YouTube channel. It's going to be an awesome time together, and just to recap what's been going on, we just came off of Rally for our high school students. It was a ton of fun. Ice cream bar was great. The worship was awesome. Teaching was fun. We played a lot of great games, and we also just came back from our middle school camp at the Believe Conference, and there was just an incredible amount of life change, and seeing so many good things happen to our students through the work of God was an amazing thing to see from my perspective. And I am fired up to be back here today speaking to you guys because we start a new series tonight called My Problem with Jesus. We'll be chugging along, we'll be thinking about Jesus. All of a sudden, a question will pop up, a statement will pop up, an event will pop up, and all of a sudden we start questioning everything, and this question stops us right where we are, and we don't really know what to do. We don't really know what we believe, and that question takes away our relationship with Jesus or keeps us from ever having a relationship with Jesus, and it turns into a major moment in our lives. And that's why we're so excited to have this series, so we can look at those problems with Jesus that people have, and we can really talk to them with you in our small groups and with our digital groups. It's going to be a great experience. So thank you for tuning in, and I want to dive into a really basic question that really everything else builds off of. And this is a problem that a lot of people have, and the problem is Jesus real? And I think I can quickly go through 3 ways Jesus actually is real to prove you historical Jesus was a real person. And to do that, we're going to get a little nerdy. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. And I'm back. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get a little whiteboard action going on. I'm going to quickly walk through 3 things to prove that Jesus was real. Luke. The book of Luke is a biography of Jesus in the Bible. Chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, it talks about how the book of Luke is an eyewitness account for the people at the time. They were looking, Luke was interviewing people and talking to people about what was going on in Jesus' life at that point, and he did that and he put together this biography. Luke was a doctor, a really smart man, and this scripture right here kind of proves that Jesus was a real person because people actually saw what was going on. But not only did you have that, you also had 2 major historical people talk about who Jesus was. And they were people that wrote later in time, 40, 50, 60 years later after Jesus. And it was a guy named Josephus and a guy named Tacitus. Tacitus. To be honest, you could read that. I could be saying it wrong, and that's okay. So Joseph and Tacitus kept bringing up Jesus in their writings and talked about him as Jesus as the Christ, and it was pretty obvious who they were talking about even in 50, 60 AD. But the third reason, so you got 1, 2, and then 3. So the third reason, probably the one that maybe even speaks to me the most, is the New Testament was written, and it was all about Jesus and what happened after Jesus' life. And in that New Testament, there are 4 biographies written about Jesus. And within that, there were 24,000 manuscripts of the New Testament. And that's a lot, right? 24,000 copies of the New Testament. If we're taking similar people at the time, we will see that's a remarkable number. Because Caesar, who was an incredibly powerful person, changed the history of the world, he had 10 manuscripts. Plato, a person you have seen in your books, In your history classes, in your sociology classes, in your psychology courses, there are 7 manuscripts of his. So people say, man, I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe what's really going on. That can't be historically true. Yeah, there's 24,000 copies of it versus 10 for Caesar and 7 for Plato. Guys, if you look at these 3 things between the eyewitness accounts, the historical figures at the time, and then the manuscripts, the copies of what was written, it becomes very clear that historical Jesus was real. So yes, is Jesus real? Yeah, he is. But the real question, is he real to you? And that's a question that a lot of people struggle with. That's a question that a lot of people don't have an answer to, or they have an answer like, yeah, he's real, but I don't really see him playing out in my life. I don't really see him doing anything in my life. He's not really a part of my life. And I believe when we see that Jesus is real and we really want him to be a part of our lives change. In Luke chapter 24, it says this. Then Jesus led them to Bethany, and lifting his hands to heaven, he blessed them. While he was blessing them, he left them and was taken up to heaven. So they worshipped him and then returned to Jerusalem filled with great joy. And they spent all their time in the temple praising God. These were people who spent time with Jesus, and their lives were changed because of it. When they realized Jesus was real in their life, they had to respond. They had to do something. They couldn't just sit there and live a normal life. They had to go worship him and do something for him. It wasn't so much about like, oh yeah, Jesus is a guy. No, Jesus was everything to them. He was real to them. He was something special to them. And because of that, their lives changed. What about you? Is Jesus real to you? Is Jesus someone that you want to be with? Is Jesus someone that has changed your life? I think about those people and how they spent time with Jesus. I think about how they saw him teach. I think about how they saw him love people, heal people, perform miracles. I think about how they saw him die on the cross for everyone's sin. I think about how they saw him raised from the dead. I think about how life was changed completely because of him. They got to experience every bit of it. Because of that, they had to respond. And if Jesus is real, if historical Jesus was a real person, and so many people are responding that way, and so many people are talking about that, and so many people are still affected by that news today, I can't help but think that he really is real for each and every single one of us, and we have to make a step to make that happen. And with my problem with Jesus, I think we need to do a little math. So we're going to do a little math test here as a group. I said we're going to get a little nerdy, and that's what we're going to do. So right here, we're going to have Jesus is real. Okay? Which is equal to question mark over you. Now, I found this out this week, guys. You know I'm not very good at math. But I found out this week the way to solve this kind of problem is you cross multiply. So then you put Jesus and you is equal to real question mark. You got to figure out the answer. And what happens is you take the real, drop it under the Jesus and you. All right? Because there comes a point in your life when you come together with Jesus, when you come together with him and you find him as a real person, as a real figure, as a real God, something happens to you. And if we need to find this answer, and what the answer is exactly what we need to do. The answer to this thing is we need to respond. If Jesus is real, we need to respond. Response is for you. Guys, I really believe Jesus can transform your life. And I really believe he can become real to you today. And the reason he can become real today to you is simple. Remember what I said. It's cross multiplication. Because of the cross, we can have a relationship with Jesus. Because he died for us, because he loves us, because he's shown his grace to us. We can be with him. And when you know that, man, you can't help but respond. So it's my prayer, it's my hope today that you and your small group will have a great conversation and it'll lead to a response. I love you guys. Have a great time.